Hiya, so this is today's look that I've gone for. Just a really nice, simple but glam. This is kind of your like classic, some call it like 1920s, I think it's a kind of vibe. But I know a few people wanted to learn how to do like a wing liner, so that's what I've gone for today. And then just paired it with the nice little red lip, again just because it's something some people struggle with and I think it looks really nice together. And feeling this look, I don't know why I don't do this more often. I say in the video, I literally have more winged eyeliner than things since I was at school. But yeah, no, I love this look. It's nice and simple, but just really put together. And I thought with my red nails, eyeliner on my hand. But yeah, nice and classic, nice and simple. And hopefully you enjoy and hopefully it helps. Keep on watching. Thank you.
So on to brows. So I'm just brushing through with my spoolie. I do this all the time. And then I'm just going to go in with my collection brow powders. Like I said in the previous video, I am going to do a video completely dedicated to brows. So I'll show you a couple of different techniques in that, but this is just kind of my go-to fluffy brow effect at the moment. So I just like to fill in where I feel like I need to, any sparse areas, anything like that. And then I like to just make my end nice and pointed and a bit more defined too. So always going in the direction of the hairs, brushing through to make it look more natural. I tend to go vertically at the front, again just because my hairs stick up at the front and it gives it that more fluffy effect. Then just some of the clear brow gel, this is the collection one. And again, this just adds to the more natural fluffy effect and keeps them in place for a bit longer. I'm now going to go into my P. Louise base. This is the original base in the shade Rumour 1. This one is a little bit of a finer consistency, a bit more watery, liquidy than the one I used in the last two videos. So I just wanted a bit of a softer look today because I'm not going too heavy on my eyes. So I didn't want to have too big of a difference between my skin and my under eye. So I use it in exactly the same way. Like I say, it's just not quite as thick and heavy as you can see. Just tapping it in to set. And then I just go in with this Peaches and Cream fluffy brush just to buff out the edges and just to set it in a little bit more where it is that little bit more watery. So I'm just going to go into the Carnival palette to this shade here, which is Pillow Talk. It's just like a sort of translucent powder white kind of colour, just to set in that eye area. And then for my liner, I'm going to use the Rimmel. This is the black gel liner.
So I've zoomed in a little bit, so hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to dip into that gel pot, so just this one here. So I'm just going to get a little bit on the end of my brush, and then I just use the back of my hand. It's really hard to do it this way. And just kind of warm the product up a little bit so it makes it a bit easier to move. Just do that a couple of times. Cool. So then what I'm going to do is just get really in close and try and move the mirror so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. So you want to start, I always start on my like inner corner. And it's personal preference whether you want to do this obviously with your eyes shut or slightly open like me. And just start working over. So you want to do like a bit at a time as well. I'd never go in and try and like fully do a straight line across your face because it will make it a lot harder. And I just sort of tap and work my way along. I use this nice thin brush as well to try and keep the line as thin as possible. And I'm also constantly sort of dipping back in before I make another move. And you can see I'm just kind of working along in little sections. Obviously if you were to use like a pen or something, that would be a bit easier. You probably wouldn't have to do so many sort of dips into product and moving along as I do. I currently don't own a pen, which is great. But yeah, pen is definitely, I find, the easier option because you literally just hold it like a pen and you can like draw nicely across your lid. Sometimes the pen ones are a bit more like glossy as well. So if that's the kind of look you want to go for, like a bit more of a shiny liner, then I'd go for a pen, whereas the gel like this is a bit more matte. So what I'm going to do now is just turn my brush the other way and just work in from my outer corner to try and join those together. You can as well sort of like pull up above your brow to try and stretch out the lid if you find that easier. That's what I do on clients, but on yourself it's a little bit of a pain. Or what you could also do is grab a mirror and sort of like hold it down underneath you so you can look down. I don't know why I didn't do this in the first place. So you can look down, and again, so like without closing your eyes you can still see what you're doing. but it just stretches out a little bit more. So with my wing, I like to kind of map it out a bit first. So just start by kind of drawing a little bit of a dash for my kind of idea. I haven't worn a wing like properly since being in school, like back to those emo days at school where I thought I was trying to be cool and massive black eyeliner strip across my face, but there we go. And then again, turn my brush the other way, use the pointed end, and just pull inwards. And then just start trying to join all those lines together and then fill in. This has gone quite thick. But then I kind of feel like as well, if you're going for a winged liner, like those tiny weeny little winged lines, like what is the point? Like, yeah, either go out or don't. Like, what's the point? And I'm just getting a bit more product and filling in. So I definitely recommend a pen for beginners because this is really hard to work with. This one is really old as well, so that probably doesn't help. But the other trick that I use is, I'm sure you've probably found by watching my videos by now, is I'm quite messy, and then I always use makeup wipes to my advantage. So I'm just going to kind of fill that in until I'm roughly happy with it. Then grab a little trusty makeup wipe, and then again wrap it around my finger and just cut that off. So wrapping it around my finger, I have not really got much nail getting on at the moment, but especially for the acrylics, this is great. And just really cut that off and make it nice and sharp. And if you do feel like you've gone too thick with it, this is where you can make it a bit thinner, a bit shorter, whatever we fancy. So can you see that's really taken a lot of that thickness out of my wing and just really tidies it up. And then obviously once you've got foundation and stuff on too, it's going to add to that. I feel really strange with the winged liner on. So I'm just going to go and do the other eye off camera.
So obviously I said I was going to go off camera, but I started it and it was going better, so I thought, right, I'm just going to film it just in case it goes better than the other side. So that's what I did. So my wing sort of filled in and joined together a lot easier on that side, which generally happens. And then just tidying up again as I did before.
So the next thing that I would do is just go in with another angled brush. So I'm going to go in with a slightly thicker one. I'm just going to go in with my stationery palette again. I'm just going to the black shade, which is called Lights Out. So I'm just going to put this over the top. Like I said, the gel liner is quite matte anyway, but if you were using more of like a watery, like a pen liner, sometimes they can be quite watery. So just by using a black eyeshadow over the top, it just kind of sets it in place. So just a bit on my brush and just tapping over just to set that liner in place. It stops that kind of transfer, like I don't know, sometimes if you've got like hooded eyes, it can transfer obviously onto the top lid after a while, which can be quite annoying. And it also stops that little like black cluster in this inner corner here. Again, if you want to wear it all day or out on a night out or something like that. It's just all sort of little things that are going to help it last a bit longer and look a bit nicer. And as always, I'm happier with this side than I am with the side I actually did on camera, so I did try and just catch a little bit at the end of it, just because I felt like this eye went a bit better. But to be fair, I think I've done quite a good job at making them look similar. But girls, it's the same with eyebrows, they're sisters, not twins. As long as they're fairly similar, don't stress with eyes, you end up with like massive black lines right across your eyes, and we don't want that.
So I thought I'd have another go at applying lashes on camera. So these are the So To by Suzanne Jackson and Primark lashes in the style Paris, and I'm using the Eyeliner glue. So you just want to apply a nice even layer of glue and then pop that to the side, and then the same on the other lash, and again just pop that one to the side afterwards. And then you want to wait a little bit until you feel like they're going tacky. You can blow on them if you really want to, and then give it a little go. I think I was a bit keen with this one and didn't leave it to go tacky enough, so it did take me a little bit longer to put on, but I did get there. And I just use my tweezers. I find it a lot easier. If I've got acrylic nails on, then again, that's a lot easier to get in, because you can just get really close to your lash line and pinch them in. If you've never used tweezers before, please be super careful if you're going to do it. Please don't poke your eyes out. I've been doing this for a long time, and I just kind of learned not to really care, but yeah, just be super, super careful. And obviously acrylic nails are not the one at the moment because of lockdown. So same with my winged eyeliner, this eye went on a lot better and it was obviously a bit more tacky, so you can see it just goes on a lot easier if you just leave it that little bit longer. And we're done. So I went and did my skin off camera, just because it's the same as what I've shown you before. And I thought for highlighter, I would try out the Stacey Marie ones from the palette I used last time. You see they're super nice and golden and shiny. I went for the middle shade, just because it's a bit more of a golden tone and just looked a bit more sun-kissed on my skin. I think these are really lovely highlighters. I'm a sucker for a highlight, so anything that sparkles stands out to me, to be honest. But yeah, no, they do go on really, really nicely. And like I say, the shades are really lovely and really wearable. And then just into my small pencil brush and do my inner corner highlights. With your inner corner highlight for this kind of look, you could go for like anything really. You don't have to just go for your normal highlight shade. Like I think a nice pop of colour in your inner corner would look really cool with this too. So I was finding myself highly amusing at this point because I was talking to someone the other day about mascara faces and how horrendous they are. So every time I made a face, I just thought about that. Lips. So I'm going for the classic red lip today. This is the Huda Beauty in the shade Boy Collector. And I'm just going to wipe off any sort of excess powder, foundation, etc. that's on my lips. I think a red lip with this look just looks super, super classy, super classic. So the lip liner is the LMX. This is a Little Mix one, just in the shade red. This actually goes on really nice. It's really nice and creamy, and they're super, super cheap. I got these from Boots at Christmas actually. But yeah, no, they're really, really nice actually, and they're not too expensive at all. And like I said, the Huda Beauty. This is a sort of satin finish lipstick, so it's not quite matte, but it's not glossy. And again, this goes on really, really nicely. With a red lip, you always want to make sure you use a red liner as well, or even like a natural liner sometimes. You just don't want to affect the colour of the lip, obviously, but you always want to have that barrier from your lip liner just to stop it from bleeding. And try and get that really nice, precise outer line. And that's all done. So I'm just going to give a final spray of my all-nighter setting spray. I did also spray before highlight as well, and that's the finished look.